So what I'm going to do, I'm going to record this. Just give me 2 seconds to get my screen right, and then we can get moving. There we go. So good morning, everybody. My name is Veer Strauss. I'm the founder of Hashtag Talent. Today, we're going to be looking at social recruiting and creating a social business. Today is just all about broad concepts. Like I said earlier, we're going into more detail in the coming weeks. We'll look at the different platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and how to use that for recruitment, and also where to spend your advertising dollars if you're going to use those platforms and how to use them. But today, I think what I want to do is build a case to explore social recruiting and make it part of your recruitment strategy. For those of you that's already doing it, maybe some pointers, maybe some things that you haven't done, which you should look at. And for those of you that's starting out on this journey and making social part of your recruitment strategy, some pointers, maybe a starting point on how to get going with this. So if you are on Twitter, please share, use the hashtag talent. I think what we're trying to do is create a bit of a HR community around this subject, so we can build a bit of a base and move this onto real live events, which is the plan. So let's get started. Just a little bit about who we are. Again, I'm Veer Strauss. I'm the founder of Hashtag Talent. We are a talent creative agency, and we help companies with their talent marketing, talent mapping, sourcing, and also talent attraction. So our role is basically twofold. We focus on sourcing and finding people, help companies proactively recruit by doing the sourcing bit, help them create databases of scarce skills. But also from the other side, we do the recruitment marketing where we help get companies' talent stories out to market using things like Facebook and Twitter, just to help companies get their talent brand across on various digital platforms. So that's a little bit about us. Today, we're going to look at why social. We're going to look at candidates and how their habits is changing the way that we should recruit. And then we're also going to look at some of the stuff that you need to do to get this going. So just looking at why social recruiting, and I think this is mainly driven by candidate behavior. And I think I was recently, and this was back in July, I was reminded just how social media is changing the way we interact. And this is when the plane went down in San Francisco. I was just about to go to bed, check Twitter. Someone retweeted this picture of a guy called David Ewan, and he just said he just crash landed at San Francisco. Tail ripped off, everyone seems fine, I'm okay, surreal. And this pic just went viral. And I was sitting there flicking through CNN and BBC to find more about the story, but it took the news sites about 45 minutes to start coverage. And by that time, it was all over Twitter, all over social media. So it's clear that we consume news a lot faster and on a lot more devices, which is bad news because that's the way people job hunt these days as well. A variety of sources, a variety of devices. So the evolution of the job hunt basically went from newspapers, which was the good old days, job boards then came along, company websites and career sites kind of took over where job boards left off. Social media has become really, really popular and something companies use. Job board aggregators has come on really strong in the last couple of years. And I think where it's going is the ability to tap into social referrals and validation. Companies like Glassdoor.com is doing this, where I have friends who went for interviews. They tell everybody about it on Facebook and Twitter. This is a good company to work for. Thereby, it must be a good company because my friends say so. So the whole social referring and getting companies to kind of hack into employers and people that like their companies, into their timelines, into their social kind of graph is kind of where it's going, and that's the key, to figure that out, how you're going to get your message across in other people's social timelines. So as candidates evolve, it's becoming much harder to get their attention. If you just think about your way to work this morning, how many billboards you saw, how many radio ads you heard, maybe in the coffee line you read a magazine, and you probably can't remember one single ad that was displayed in front of you. But you check your Facebook this morning, you know what your friends are doing, you checked Instagram, you saw all the pictures, and it's just like social cuts through that clutter of noise and you remember it a lot better. So this is why social is so important, because getting your jobs in front of people and on their phones and while they're checking their social sites is very important. So we went from having a single platform like a job board or a career site or a newspaper to a very, very fractured market where candidates' attention and the attention spans is divided between a lots and lots of social media sites, and it's about the challenge comes in capturing their attention. So what that's done on the flip side is it made it really easy to find people because there's a lot more data online, so it's easier to find people. But the hard part now is it's selling your job, it's selling your company and leaders, and why candidates that's already in good jobs should leave that job and come and work for you. So I also looked at the South African market and just explored how candidates search for jobs, because in order for us to deliver jobs to the right candidate, it is kind of essential that we know how they search for jobs and what they do. So I started looking at the most popular sites in South Africa, and no surprises here. We have Google, we have Facebook, we have YouTube, we have LinkedIn, and then your Gumtree is really popular, Wikipedia, Bitaboy, News24. So those are the 10 most popular sites in South Africa. No surprises there. Then I also looked at how candidates search for jobs. And this is the job search for the terms careers, jobs, vacancy, job, and work since 2004. So you can see there most people use the word jobs, and it's interesting because in some regions like Gauteng, something like careers would be used a little bit more. And that's just the way people search in the different regions. But just looking at this, it's interesting to note those spikes in the red line is every year in January, we have the most searched job traffic. And it makes sense. I mean, that's a lot of people when they come back from their December holiday, they went to Cape Town, they want to live in Cape Town, they want to work in Cape Town now, the search kind of spikes. But it makes an interesting case for most companies start work middle of Jan towards the end of Jan. And then it takes a while to get their jobs updated and what's happening, what jobs do we need to fill. It makes a case for having your jobs ready when January rolls around, because if you want to capture the attention of that job seekers, it makes sense to have your jobs ready when January comes around, because that is the month for the last how many years which most searches have taken place online. So it's just an interesting stat. And this is just related terms, and this is pretty much the same across all markets in the world where we have people searching for jobs like Jobs South Africa, Cape Town Jobs, Jobs Gauteng. There's always some sort of classified in there like Gumtree or Craigslist in other countries. And that's just the way people search for jobs. So looking at the top 100 sites, again, I went to see where does the job boards, looking at the old way of doing recruitment, where does the job board sit in the market? You can see there the job board aggregators like Indeed and Job Rapido, they sit relatively high, 46 and 57 on the list of top 100. But you can see the job boards sit a little bit lower. Careers, 24, PNet, JobMail, Career Junction, all scattered towards the lower end of the top 100. And according to Career Builder in the US, and this is pretty much similar stats to South Africa, about 75% of working people are open to new opportunities, but only 18% of those are actively searching for a job. So when you advertise, you only probably reaching in South Africa, I would say between 12 and 20% of the working market, which is relatively low. But that's just the reality of posting stuff online and active job seekers. But when they do search, the process normally starts, 2/3 of the searches start on Google or Bing. So that's normally where people start their job search. And if you look at the way they search, if they search things like, and this is the most popular search probably is Jobs South Africa. If they search that way, you can see the job boards rank pretty high. So the first results is all basically job boards. So if you have your jobs on job boards, that's okay, because people will see your jobs because they search for Jobs South Africa, and they'll end up probably somewhere on a job board searching for finance jobs. If they are a little bit more savvy in their job search, where they search for things like a developer jobs Cape Town, you can see there's not a job board in sight. So the first result is all your job board aggregators. So again, it now makes sense to put your jobs on their aggregators as well. And they have really good ways of promoting your jobs. Doesn't matter how well your ad is written, doesn't matter what it says in the ad. If you pay money, you can have your job ranked right at the top, which is a great way to attract people. And it makes a good case for putting your jobs onto the job board aggregators if you want to attract these kind of job seekers. So just on aggregators, again, I think this was last year, Indeed captured about 62% of the job search traffic in the US, which is massive. And about 30% of this is mobile. So this, again, for us presents further challenges because not all companies' career sites are mobile optimized. So you struggle to get people onto your site, and then either the process is too long, it's too hard to apply, it's not mobile optimized, and you can get up to a 40% drop-off rate to complex applied processes. So it's clear that people across the world and in South Africa use multiple devices to browse. I mean, one client I was working with, about 30% of the traffic to their website came from BlackBerries. And that made us change the whole site around so it actually displays correctly on the BlackBerry, and we can apply, and the candidates can apply relatively easy. Applicants and passive candidates come from a variety of sources. So they come from aggregators, they come from social, they come from all over the place. And normally they don't apply on the first visit to your site. I mean, they can take up to 72 days of looking at your jobs, getting job alerts, reading your tweets, looking at your Facebook posts, and that is a long time for someone to sit there before they apply. And this is just the 12 to 18% of active job seekers. This is not passive candidates. So, how do we get passive candidates? And this is where social comes into play, because it gives you a platform. To get social, to get passive candidates, you need a strong employer brand. People need to see your value that you offer as an employer. They need to see how you tell your company stories. Staff will tell about their experiences in your company. And this is how you leverage social to get that message across to your passive job seekers. And the second way of doing this is sourcing, because this has created so much data online where we can find a lot of things. It becomes easier to source these people. So finding amazing people always start with the finding part. So using social is a key part to engage rare and hard to find skill sets. So social media gives us that ability to interact with people that's not in the job market on a regular basis. And it's all down to telling your company story. It's all about taking that story about what it's like working in your company and have that filter through to all your online communication, whether that being your job specs online on your site, on your job boards that you use, on the aggregators, on social. Your career site need to reflect what it is like working there, and also via your staff. And if we just look at a company like Maersk, which is, they do offshore drilling, they have all these vessels and all these big things. Their strategy is they post a lot of images about, the stuff that they do. This is a drilling ship. This is how long it takes to get a drill from a harbor into the open ocean. And they post all these amazing pictures, like this one again, amazing photo, which they took about a drilling vessel. And what's happening now is people are starting to comment on those. Like this one they posted a day ago. Just people saying, I've worked there for 2 years, I'll be back, it's great working there. Other people see that, they start writing, I want to work for you. And then they reply, say, hi, we're happy to hear. Here's a list of all our vacancies. Best of luck. And that's just the way they've created a community of passive job seekers around the content that they have, the stuff that they do. They have drilling vessels, and they do amazing things, and they use that content available to them to pull people in. Again, career sites is often very limited. A company like Adidas does an amazing job at telling stories about real people working there. You'll see on their site, there's not a stock image on site. They do an excellent job of telling people about their culture, about the stuff they can do when they work there. Fitness plays a big role. Obviously, they are a sports brand, so fitness plays a big role in what they do and how they work. They talk about working. They talk about what it's like if you relocate to Germany, what's in it for your family, the schools if you relocate. So it's just, they've done a great job at telling those stories. And then the other one, which I'm also a big fan of, is Marriott. And now the Marriott Hotel Group, they launched a campaign where the campaign is called Where I Belong. And what they've done is they've involved their staff and they've empowered their staff to post pictures as to where they work and how long they've been with the group, which is a fantastic way of telling your company story, telling what it's like to work there through the people that work for you. And they've done exceptionally well. They've got about 1 million likes on their jobs and careers page on Facebook. And it really is it's a really good place to see what it's like working at that company. So telling your story through these profiles via your staff is it's an essential component to social recruiting, because when people look at your company, probably the first thing they're going to find is the people. And locally here, I mean, there's not a better example than the now outgoing CEO of F&B versus the F&B account online and on Twitter. So I think if you look at employees who use social media, often become brand ambassadors and outperform the brands themselves on such media. So if you look at Michael Jordan's account, now again he's outgoing. I think he's moved away. He's gone to Mixit. But if you just look at his account, he's got 35,000 followers on his Twitter account. They've also got an account called RB Jacobs. Now, RB Jacobs is a fictional character. It's not a real person. Most people believe he is a real person, and that is their support account. This account is run by probably 6-10 people of just dealing with people's issues they have on the bank account. But people think it's a real guy. That one's got about 32,000 followers now. The official F&B Twitter account has only got 11,000 odd followers. So it just shows you that people like dealing with people. And it's a great opportunity to tell and brand through the elements that they have online. A simple example, this is my LinkedIn profile. A simple example would be just to help your staff get their LinkedIn profiles optimized for work. And LinkedIn offers a range of tools, like you can put in what projects you worked on, what teams you worked in, what's the work and projects you've done. If your company's got really good social responsibility programs and volunteer projects, which you do in the community, LinkedIn has fantastic tools on the profile, so you can actually enable your staff to put that on their LinkedIn profiles and help you brand and get your message across and just amplify your talent message through all the staff or all the people that work for you. So, employees also have social networks. They have reach. It's essentially you tap into that. Normally, people like developers, they hang with other developers, so it becomes easier to get your message in front of them. And it's just you have to help them amplify your talent message. And we'll look at some of those things as we go along in the next couple of weeks on just how to do that. So just 10 minutes to go. I'll finish up with those last couple of points. Just when you look at social and you look to build this into your existing process, I mean, do not underestimate the effort it takes to build a social recruiting strategy as part of your recruitment strategy. Shifting to this model will need a lot of additional thinking, and it will need a lot of additional resources. And it starts with the people that's involved in your hiring process. They need selling skills, because once you move to this model, you are going to start to interview and interact with passive candidates. These are not candidates that came to you for a job. They didn't apply on your company's site. These are passive candidates that's come through other sources. So the people that's interviewing, they need to sell the job, and they need to have a consistent message. And hiring managers need to be trained to do this. So they need to move from a more traditional interview method to, this is what we can offer you. They need to sell people the next step in their careers. They need to sell them a career. They need to sell them, for example, the possibility of making senior partner or senior salesperson within the next 2 years. They need to get that message across that this is a key place to work, and it's important that you come and join us. So that's the first point. Second is collection of data. In order for you to get buy-in from the top and from your executive committee, you will need to present data that is relevant and case studies that shows this is something we need to do. So you need to measure more data. You need to measure what channels like Twitter and Facebook are we getting the best people from? What's the best ratios in terms of application to interview to place? And things that we've seen going down this journey is sites like Facebook for us have at this moment in time the best ratio from actually applying to interview. So Facebook has a lot less applications, but there's a lot more people going from applying to being interviewed to being hired. And we don't know why that is. It's just a fact that Facebook is doing really, really well for us and for our clients in terms of people responding to job ads to people actually being interviewed. So you need to measure that data. You need to be able to get that across and make a case for it. Sourcing skills is the other thing. Think about this when you're hiring a new team within social and social recruiting. Sourcing plays a big part. It's the new language of recruiting. It's like I think everybody at some point in the future needs to learn how to code. The same thing goes for the modern day recruitment consultant. You need to know how to source. You need to know how to extract information from a database in order so you can make sense of it. Because everything on the internet is in some sort of database, some sort of form that you need to be able to make sense of, and you need to consider this when you are upskilling or you're hiring new people for your team. Then again, once you start pushing content out, there will probably be a battle with the marketing department because your message might be different to their message. I think marketing is sometimes caught up in selling the company's products and not selling the company itself. So in order for social to work, you need to align your efforts with marketing. You need to share the cost. You need to break down the barriers between marketing and HR, and share that expertise. And this is a key factor. I mean, we've had many campaigns come unstuck and be on hold because marketing doesn't believe that is the voice of the company, which is completely different to to your talent brand. So it is important that you align your efforts with marketing. And then, of course, the candidate experience. Once you start selling your company in the job, make sure it lines up with your experience. Make sure that when they come through the application process, that every step is, it does what it says on the label. Most companies we deal with, their hiring process is too long. They take 30, 60 days to make an offer. When you're hiring passive people, that is a problem. The hiring processes are too long, and you're going to lose candidates because of a top-heavy hiring process. Too many people involved, it takes too long to coordinate diaries. You need to simplify that process. You need to really look at that process and simplify it. And that, in summary, is some of the key points I wanted to get across today. I think if you remember these three, that social media is part of the strategy. It's not the only strategy. So in addition to what you're already doing, filtering this in is essential. Telling your company story, it's the new recruitment. It's why should people come and join your job? I think the new world of work and where people are going, and the age of the workforce within the next couple of years is much younger. People don't stay in jobs that long. They tend to hop frequently. So you need to tell people why it's an essential thing for them to come and work for your company. And then involving and empowering your staff to tell these stories and making them part of the process is key. Doing it as a HR department will have success. Doing it in the company as a company would give you success a lot quicker. So involve your staff, empower them, make them part of the process. And then just in closing, next week, same time, same place, we will do a webinar as well. We'll look at maybe some of the platforms and how to do this. So we'll break this down into sections over the next couple of weeks. We'll look at the platforms, we'll look at building teams, all sorts of things like that. If you want to get in touch with us, there's all my details on the screen. So you can either catch us on Twitter, you can email me, wp@hashtagtalent.com, or you can just visit our website, which is hashtagtalent.com. So I think I did exceptionally well in just 7 minutes under time. So if there's any questions, if anyone has got something to ask, use the chat function on the side, use Twitter as well. You can use the hashtag, which is #talent, and I'll try to catch those. I'll keep the line open. I'll stay on for another 5 minutes or so. But if there's anyone that's got any questions, please get in touch. I'm happy to talk to anyone that wants to start this journey but don't know quite where to start. I thank everybody for attending. Hopefully next week we can, or definitely next week, we're going to continue on with the webinars. So if there's anyone that you think might benefit this, please send the links on to them. Like I said, the plan is to build a big enough community so that we can interact in real life as well. So I think we'll start next month in Cape Town with a live event where we'll talk a bit of a unconference vibe going on, where we can talk about social and the challenges. Then we'll move up to Joburg, Durban, and we'll take it from there. But again, thank you very much. Recording is going to be up on our website probably tomorrow, but I'll send out everyone an email that was on today. It'll be on our blog. You can just go to hashtagtalent.com. Top right would be the link for blog, and you'll see it in there. So thanks again for everyone that attended, and hopefully I'll catch you all soon.